The rare level 5 out of 5 or high risk for severe weather has been issued in areas of Oklahoma and Kansas, and just quite the severe weather outbreak is expected throughout areas of the Central Plains. But here's the big thing. What if you knew that there was potential and a likely situation where a severe weather outbreak was going to happen around this date? 6 weeks ago, 12 weeks ago, 135 days ago. Early indications suggested that something, maybe not to the magnitude of this, was going to happen around this date in May. And I'm referring to the LRC, the Lezak recurring cycle. Very simply put, every single fall, a very unique weather pattern sets up in the 500 millibar layer, the jet stream. What's going on with the jet stream? Something brand new weather pattern sets up every fall. It lasts somewhere between 40 and 60 days, sometimes shorter, sometimes longer, and then it repeats itself throughout the year ahead until a new LRC cycle or pattern sets up the following fall. So basically, what has happened today to produce this risk of high severe weather, the upper levels have already done this 4 times prior to today. And I'm going to show you a few examples of those. What are we dealing with today? Well, here is the severe risk weather. And this is associated with a key signature part of this year's pattern that cycled back through in March, February, Christmas time. Do you remember Christmas? Were you affected by a storm over Christmas? Let's touch on that Christmas storm. I'm going to play you a short clip of a weather outlook we did back on the 20th of March. If I can zoom down here for you, the 20th of March right here, part of our severe weather and our spring and summer LRC weather outlook with the company I work for. Just give this a listen. When I'm talking about a Christmas storm, I'm talking about how it affected us here in North Dakota, which brought 3 inches of rain in Fargo, over an inch of ice accumulation in Jamestown, ice accumulation to 3/4 of an inch in Grand Forks, snow out in far western North Dakota, several inches of rain in Minnesota. Just a nasty multi-day storm. So when you hear Christmas storm, that's what I'm referring to, and so is my colleagues in this video. So I'm going to play a couple sound bites out of here for you.
That second week or the end of the first week into the second week in May, that's our Christmas storm, the one that's about to hit this weekend. That's when it'll come back. Now, obviously, that's right around that, 7th through 10th of May?
8th, 9th, 10th.
Yeah. So when that comes back through, odds are we're going to be on the warm side of that. We might be looking at severe weather, but it could.
So we're focusing again in North Dakota, and let's look at that risk. Is there potential for severe weather in North Dakota? Really not. Not really. Not up in most of North Dakota. There is a marginal risk for a couple of storms in southwestern North Dakota, a small tornado threat in areas of South Dakota, the main threat down to our south, as it should remain. We were anticipating this to lift a little further to the north to bring us a chance, so we're a little off. We're off by about a day or so, but from an outlook, being a day off and a little further south over 45 days, that's not too terrible bad, but that's what we're referring to. We were predicting the chance for severe weather up in North Dakota on the 7th, 8th of May. Of course, we're looking at this storm on the 6th and the 7th, so we're off by about a day here. But I want to play another bite from you here at 1:22. And you can go back and watch this. There are a few other examples in here, but let's play this one here.
All right, let's go to we got time. Let's jump into May. What do we got for May, guys?
So where did we leave off?
First week in May, 7th through the 10th, that's our Christmas storm cycling back. That will be the biggest storm of the month in May.
So that's going to be the biggest month in May. That's the biggest storm that we're going to see. And boy, is it ever. That is a big storm down there. Let's take a look at some of the upper level maps of what I'm talking about, show you some examples of the LRC. So here is the SPC risk. This is the upper air maps from today at 12Z supporting that risk for high that high risk of severe weather. And areas, again, Kansas, Oklahoma. Based on the LRC, and this being roughly or averaging a 45-day cycle, something similar to this must have happened about 45 days ago. Take a look at this map. Soak it in. Go backwards a couple of times. Compare these maps in this video. This is 43-ish days before that. Here is our storm system coming in. Man, that is shockingly similar to where that risk for severe weather is. You could say coincidence. Yeah, you got a wave producing severe weather in the same spot that high risk is 45 days. Coincidence. Well, should we be seeing something similar to this 45 days before this as well? Which brings us to about the 7th through the 12th. Again, a bit further to the south, but with a strengthening jet stream in February, you would expect that severe weather risk would be further to the south than as it would be in May, affecting the central U.S. Too darn cold up here to get severe weather most of the time through the winter. Well, 45 days before this, what did we have? This is the Christmas storm. Here it is, 45 days later. Didn't produce severe weather, but boy, could it have. We got another major weather disturbance that tracked through the U.S., and even 45 days before this, earliest signs suggested that here it is with our weak jet stream and a high over it, kind of wrapping or stealing some of the energy associated with that low. That's the storm system that came through. Bit further to the south, underneath a high, robbing it of some of that precious fuel. So, back in February, when we saw that early indication, here we are, February, this is the early indication that we're talking about, there is a 50% chance that this was going to wrap back around the 7th to 13th of May. Here's the highlighted area for the severe weather, central United States, East Coast, 7th through the 13th. We're talking about something between the 6th and the 10th, so hey, we're off by a couple of days. This was issued back in February. Pretty darn good to be looking at severe weather over those areas over those 4 days. Let me know what you think down in the comments, what your thoughts are on the LRC. I have numerous examples and some that even outshine this in terms of repeating weather patterns that have already happened. Drop those comments down there below. I'll get to them as quick as I can. And if you have any thoughts on what's happening, let me know.